It sometimes feels like the world is divided into two types of people. Type 1, it's people who hear about a new show like Emily in Paris. A young American woman from the Midwest is hired by a marketing firm in Paris to provide them with an American perspective on things. And they're like, sounds good, and they start watching it, and some of them like the show, some don't. Hopefully by now you know I wasn't going to judge people by an experience as subjective as liking or disliking a show, but and there's type 2, which is people who hear about a show and they watch the show ironically almost. I go through 100 tweets on it and tweet 100 more. Actually, one of my favorite copywriters, Laura Belgray, actually wrote an article about it, like why Emily in Paris is 2020's ultimate hate watch. MSN published an article titled "People Hate Emily in Paris So Much It's a Global Crisis." So yeah, type 2 people enjoy things, but not before rationalizing or overanalyzing them to death. And this is obviously an oversimplistic view. I'm not like the biggest fan of dividing people into two categories, but anyway, you get the point. So, some people are better off single, some things are better off simple. It rhymes. But why do we hate watch? Just putting it out there, hate watching is just like consuming forms of media ironically and hating what you're watching, but you can't stop watching it. Or yeah, so why do we do it? Why is it a global crisis, like MSN said? If we analyzed 5,709 episodes from 431 series, like comedy, reality, and drama genres, what would we find? And as it turns out, the question has been answered, obviously, because I wouldn't just like include random numbers, or would I? There was a time I was like obsessed with the number 27 for some reason, and I would just like see, like, anyway. For dramas and reality shows, various expressions of hate by viewers were actually the strongest emotional indicator that TV show viewership would increase for the following episode, according to a study by data analytics startups Canis. So let me say that again. Hate was the strongest emotional indicator that we will watch another episode and the next and the next. Hate, not love. And it doesn't stop there. The startup asked people to categorize shows into love, hate, boring, annoying, and for every 0.1% increase in hate answers, viewership increased and views almost doubled, like show views for hate answers in comparison to love answers. So I guess love isn't the answer. So this is why we keep watching, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians and Emily in Paris and Përputhen, which is a dating show in Albania that people hate, but they also watch a lot. And just like similar shows that make us cringe, but we can't stop watching. It's just love isn't the answer. Hate is. So don't take that out of context, please. And hate-based activities go beyond hate watching. People will hate read like articles from someone when it's just like they disagree with their point of view. They're just like, why is this shithead saying this stuff? They will hate follow people on social media. That's why we see like so many negative comments from time to time, because it's just like we're the biggest fans of the people we hate sometimes. And there's something that needs to be said about our emotional bandwidth and how much we struggle to name our feelings beyond like just love, hate, anger, boredom. And I feel like we should reserve the word hate for people who hurt others, people who fill us like with unimaginable rage and for cruel, injustices that leave us feeling weak and powerless. And actually, Mijene, a famous Albanian poet, encapsulated this perfectly in a poem I will butcher by translating in English. He said, "Oh, for I don't have a crushing fist to hit the core of the hushing mountain, so he too may know the meaning of weakness." So, that being said about hate and all that, and hate, like hate-based activities like hate watching or hate following people, should we stop hate watching shows? According to Wikipedia, and as Rory Sutherland, who wrote in a book I'm currently reading, and I quote, "I know it's professional suicide to acknowledge Wikipedia, but anyway, so according to Wikipedia, Emily Nussbaum was the first person to come up with the term hate watching back in 2012 in a New Yorker article, actually. Apparently, so many of us interact with shows or influential figures in this specific way that we had to find a name for it. And I actually found on Twitter this tweet by TV writer and actress Dani Fernandez. She said, "I'm begging you all to stop hate binging shows. It does affect the rest of us and affects the notes we get from studios, and I'm not even kidding." So that's something to keep in mind for sure. Like what we focus on expands, and what we pay attention to gets rewarded. And in many ways, we decide which shows get new seasons and what we are rewarding with the things we're watching and the people we're following. And it doesn't actually matter like if our support is hate or love based. In the grand scheme of things, spending a few minutes scrolling through the page of someone you just like hate follow on Instagram and just like going through their account, huffing and puffing about their cringy posts isn't like the worst thing in the world that you can do. I mean, do I hate scroll through Kim K's Instagram? I do. Craig Wright, a professor who annually teaches the Genius course at Yale, yes, it's called the Genius course, pondered on Kim's business genius title. And I mean, yeah, influencers and screenwriters, and they are marketing geniuses. They know how to keep us hooked. And there's like that photo of Kim and Courtney, or Kim's in the water, and she's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna cry at my diamond earrings." And Courtney's like, "Kim, there's people that are dying." Anyway, ironically, you can tell yourself that there's people that are dying to justify hate watching the Kardashians and their questionable morals and storytelling. Anyway, that's okay. So hate binging shows that suck doesn't mean you have self-sabotaging tendencies or like questionable taste or time management issues. It means you're just acting humanly, which is predictably irrationally. Anyway, in case you would like to stop hate watching shows, and in case this is a problem for your like self-sabotage or like time management, are you sure? Are you really sure that you want to do that? Maybe you just haven't found the right show that's like incredibly bad that it's kind of good. Joking. So I'm having iced coffee, which I usually do on Fridays. So if you do want to do that, here's what you can do. And I'm borrowing this from something I said in something I wrote about my secret theory as to why some Albanians hate other Albanians so much. You should read that, I think. Yeah, you need to practice mindfulness in case you want to stop hate-based activities on your life. And getting intimate with our brains is scary. mindfulness can help you with so many aspects of your daily life, especially with strong emotions like hate or disgust. And being mindful of the way you speak about your experiences equates more mindful experiences, which then equates better experiences. And I'd also recommend starting a meditation routine. And I actually also have an article which covers whether ponders on the question, is bad art worse than no art? And, spoiler alert, it's not. I'll include it down below. Anyway, now I'd like to hear from you. Do you hate watch shows or hate follow people? And are you working on it, or is it just your not so guilty pleasure that you don't mind at all? Thanks for listening.